You're all good. It's fine.
Jew. That's why people come to the Jews, because we have space lasers and we own
Correct.
all the media.
Correct. Own the media, own the finance, everything. I mean,
we own. We're Jews. That's what we do.
And you put fluoride in the water as well, apparently. I don't know what that's about.
You got to do something. That's the good thing about being a Jew. So yeah, this is great. I can see I can see some little Nazi guy in a basement somewhere, that lives with his mother, going, "But they are Jews still." So,
is his name Alec Hogg? Not Alec Hogg. What's his name? Alec. What's the InfoWars guy?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The I can't remember the InfoWars guy. I wish I could, but I know who you're talking.
But you're talking about. You know what's crazy is he obviously thought the whole Sandy Hook thing was actors.
Yes.
And I arrived in the US 6 days before that happened, and I was in that community where it happened. I was in Ridgefield and Danbury, which is literally down next door to Newtown. And I met those people and I met those mothers, and it was a deeply, I mean, I didn't have kids, it didn't happen to me, but it was a very personal thing for me. And they obviously found out where I was from, what I'd been through. We chatted, and they kept saying to me, "What do you think?" And I said, "Look, it doesn't matter what I think. You guys have just got to keep talking about it." "Yeah, but people don't believe us." And I went, "It doesn't matter." And then she mentioned this Alec guy, whatever his name was, and I said, "Well, he's just an idiot. I mean, he is. He's never set foot.
He's bankrupt.
Spoken to you.
Yeah, he's bankrupt. They sued him into bankruptcy.
Good, because his crap. I mean, I went to a town hall meeting where these two ladies got up on stage and they were talking about what happened. I was curious, and I went to this town hall meeting and I listened to them talking about their kids and what happened. And it was just so surreal. There was the woman. There were two mothers whose children were 8, 7, whatever, being killed by this whack job, and it was extremely real. You know what? Even if you hadn't read any newspapers or seen any media, and you had all the doubts in the world, there was no denying. You could feel the grief in the room. It was, and then for this twat just to go, why would people do that? That was the thing. I thought, what is the advantage? What is the advantage?
Americans, for the most part, are twats, and he was making money.
But they hurt. But Steve, the pain these people went through because of that chop.
I know, but listen, if you ever watch his early stuff, and they did a documentary on this guy. They get, for people that are just joining, we're talking about Sandy Hook and whatever, the guy idiot that kept saying it wasn't real, but they showed all the stuff that he did like 10 or 20 years prior, videos and whatever. And it's sort of like, he's always been a conspiracy theory kind of guy. But I'm like, when Sandy Hook happened and he was like, "Oh no, it's not real." I'm like, really? That's not real. He 10 or 15 dead children. That's not real. They made that up. No, this is
why
not,
would they do that?
It's not that smart. Yeah, he's just an idiot. Listen, all the people that are conspiracy people like him, all the nuts agreed. They buy his products, and that's why, because it's like, look, I'm going to save you. Okay, great. Now, I know he lost in court. Like they got like a few $100 million against him. I know he had to file bankruptcy. I think his InfoWars is like just dying out. So, hey, before we get any further, should we technically start the show?
Let's technically start the show. Yeah.
This is 2OF Entertainment.
Well, here we go. It's the man that promises you nothing and delivers. It's the veritable man motor mouth. It's Roald Woods, who feels the need to call himself Rob Vega. It somehow makes him feel important. Anyway, do have a listen and try not to throw up.
I just like the way that does try not to throw up. Every time it says, I go, "Oh, I don't get it."
Well, try not to throw up. Yes, exactly.
That's really good that we use the Queen Mother, and because she's dead, or the Queen, and she's
Very
dead, so
much
we don't have to pay her royalties anymore.
That's correct. Yes, I'm basically just an artificial version, or an AI, artificial idiot version of the Queen. That's an AI version. I'm not a real idiot. I'm an artificial idiot.
Yeah, you're an artificial idiot. That's awesome.
Steve, I just wanted to wrap something up by saying the whole InfoWars thing. What I found. Look, You know what? My view is you believe whatever you want to believe. You can think that there are super soldiers and there are nanobots and the world, whatever. That's one thing. That there it is sitting there on the crazy shelf. Whatever, fine. You do you. But the problem I had with the Sandy Hook thing is I met the people who suffered. I met the mothers. I saw the fathers. I could see the kids whose brothers and sisters had been in there. And what I'm saying is if he thought that, if he's going to put it out there, or if you're going to put out any crap out there that is that damaging, get on a damn plane, go there, and actually pretend to be the journalist that you're pretending you are, and all these amazing things that you've discovered, because you are conspiracy theories are by their very nature come from somewhere. So let's go there and find the source, research, talk to the people, chat with them. Honestly, if you come away from meeting, if you'd come away from meeting those parents and those people and the whole damn community, Steve, they were destroyed. The people were just, man, the sadness was, and you drove past Sandy Hook and you could feel it. You could feel it. And I just thought, mate, if you could still believe somehow that was a hoax, I would then give you credit for actually doing the work and researching and speaking to people. If you come away somehow with this weird version, I'm not going to agree with you, and I still think you're a nut job. But then I'd have to say, look, he went there. He spoke to the people. He went to the school. Well, you can actually go to the school, but you can drive past and just feel that, talk to the people. But he didn't do any of that. He didn't speak to any of them. And he caused them all this unspeakable heartache. I mean, imagine your 6-year-old kid goes off to school, and you have every right to expect that beautiful child is going to come home, and they never come home. And then you snap on the old YouTube thingy there, or the TV, and here's some twat on the other side of the country telling you made it up. You hired
Alex
people.
Jones, by the way, is the twat that we're talking about. And
you go, why would you even do that? What? Anyway, I just that as I say, I was there, and it was a very personal thing for me. I obviously didn't lose anybody in that tragedy, but I became friends with a lot of the people who did. And
the first time he met them was at the trial, and you could just, like, the camera would be on his face.
The first time he met them.
He never really met any of them. Was at the lawsuit trial, and they were like, I think any of them, if they had a weapon, would have just killed him. But they were just like, how could you? It's kind of what you just said, but they're like, my dad pictures and you made it up and blah, blah, blah. And it was sort of like, like, listen, it's okay to have conspiracy theories, like, the lizard people.
That's us.
Having
whatever
lasers. I mean, that's all true, of course. And owning and the banks. This is all true stuff.
The earth is flat.
Right, that's true. But, going to the moon, 50-50. All that other stuff. Do we really have a president? Conspiracy theory.
Obvious. Right. Yeah, sure.
Cooper, right. All that conspiracy, I get it. But when something like that, it's true. I saw it on the internet. It's when you have Sandy Hook or a tragedy like that, and you have to your point, an idiot that goes, it's not real. Would you like to tell me why the government or these people, the 30 people, decide, let's get together? This is going to just be a great April Fool's joke and pretend 30 children died. Like, what moron? That's like the dumbest thing in the world. So to his no credit, it's like, if you would have gotten on a plane, got there, saw everything, you would have been like, okay, then to your point, if he would have said, listen, I still don't believe it, that's fine. You were there. You can say that. But when you're sitting in Austin, Texas, in your studio, selling jars of, this is going to keep you alive during, Armageddon.
Is he in your town?
He's in our town. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I didn't realize that. Carry on. Apologies. Yeah.
Well, someone had told me that. I go, like, great. All the nuts are here. You got Rogan, Musk, him, Bullock. It just keeps going on and on and on. So
we got Steve. Steve, do this.
I know, right? It's like time to leave. So, and I'm just fascinated by the stupidity, not of, to his point, that he's a genius, because his conspiracy crap all the stupid people that follow it and believe it and
Yeah.
buy his product.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
that's the stupidity that shocks me
Yeah.
more
How?
than someone
Why?
believing it. Yeah. But what, like Columbine back in the 80s when those kids killed everybody in Colorado,
Oh,
before we had YouTube and all the other stuff, right? The first big mass shooting that it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. If he was around then, he'd be like, that's not true. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not true. Like when they have people do these mass shootings all the time, it's like, it's just not true. I'm like, you got to, like, enough with the not true. We live in a society now where people are literally loony because there's no value, there's no hope, there's no nothing. So they're like, okay, they just snap one day, or they've been playing video games for so long. They're just like, let's see what it is in real life. But I know on the last shooting that happened a month ago, they're holding the parents for involuntary manslaughter because, one, they bought him his weapon, and
they did, didn't
two,
they?
yeah, they bought him
Yeah.
the weapon, and two, something else happened. Like the parents, like they were saying, I'm just going to go to school today and kill everybody. And mom and dad are like, oh, have a good day.
But,
So, you know.
Steve, explain something.
Yeah.
I kind of know this, but this is just for anybody else. Explain to me, how old was that kid? You mentioned the parents bought him a gun.
How 14 or 15? 14 or 15.
Right. Explain to me the conversation that you have with your 14-year-old son. And let's be honest, we've all been crazy ass 14-year-old. You
Sure.
have, I have. 14. I mean, you don't know. I mean, I barely know what's going on now. 14, I knew absolutely jack. And can you imagine your mother and father going, you know what? You know what's really going to help you and get you on the path to adulthood and figure shit out? We're going to buy you a gun. What was it? Was it an AR-14? Was it one of those?
Yeah, like bought him a rifle. Yeah,
bought him a rifle.
Like
let's
a weapon
buy
that
our
would go
son
to war
a
with.
rifle. That should really bring him into the adult fold. And once he's, I don't know, done whatever it is he's going to do with this rifle, then it'll all be okay. He'll be settled. He'll be a man. He'll be like Rudyard Kipling's If. You know, if you do this, and then right there in the middle, it says, and if you take this gun and commit unspeakable acts, then you'll be a man, my son. I mean, why would you do that? Why would you? I mean, look, he's obviously crazy. Why would the parents, 14 years old, you don't know shit, but the parents, they're our age.
Either, apparently.
Why would you do that? Have a coffee with your son. Don't buy him a freaking gun.
Right.
For what?
Listen, do what most good parents do. Give him some cocaine and let him just enjoy the day. Come on. So, let him enjoy. Give him some hallucinogenics and let him see pink elephants and shit. So
get him a new game. Get him a new video game. Get him Call of Duty or something. Why would you buy him an actual gun?
You know what he needs? He needs another video game, Call of Duty number 26, because that's, you need that. But here's how I look at this. When I was a kid, my dad had a weapon, and on Saturdays we would go to the range and I got to shoot and whatever. And I think it was after my bar mitzvah, I was like, ooh, it'd be really cool if I had a weapon, because I want my own, like, I wanted to rifle and shoot and blah, blah. And my mom and dad were like, that's very nice, but no. And I said, and I went through all the things, like you can put a gun lock on it and you can do this and you can do that. Like my dad kept his he had a Luger, a 22 Luger, which is the coolest thing. But I mean, like when he came home from the range, the clip came out, everything came out. He took it literally apart and stuck it in the safe that only he had the combo for. Like, so no one was getting it. And my mom was like, so what are you going to do with this rifle? I said, well, when we go to the range, I'm going to shoot. And she's like, can you rent one at the range? I'm like, yeah. And it was a Marlin Glenfield. I think I wanted a 22. And she was like, then that's where, and you'll continue. And I was like, but you can put a lock and you can do this and you can do that. But my dad said, well, that's all good, but it's just too big to fit in the safe. But enough said. I was like, oh, I'm good. But it was under, like when we would go to the range, I'd go with my dad on a Saturday. It was fun, something to do, like pop, but I don't get it where I understand children go hunting. I think it's 10 or 8 or whatever. They can go hunting with their parents. And I get that. But if I have a kid and we like to go hunting, and I don't understand hunting, so I can't really say I would do that, because, going up against Bambi with a 30-odd and taking Bambi's head off, I'm just sort of like, I don't get it. Now, if you want to go up against a grizzly bear with a pocket knife, I'm all for that, because now it's a competition. But, to go after Bambi with a gun just doesn't seem like anything unless Bambi's shooting back. And now a bow and arrow, maybe a little more, but not a gun. But anyway, if I was going to have a son, he said, I want to go be a hunter. Cool. So we would get a gun safe. And if we're going to keep it in the house, Junior doesn't get to know the combo. All the guns or weapons go in there. Everything goes in there. And you have to teach him weapon safety. But I wouldn't be like, here, go hang your AR, whatever the kid had in your room, and go, isn't that nice? No, it's not. And I think parents, I'm vacillating on how I feel about the parents being held for involuntary manslaughter. But I think it does send a message that if you're going to buy your child a lethal weapon, then
What do you
if they
think
do
they're going to do
something
with
with
it?
it, that's it. Yeah. You go hunt. If you're a hunter, sure, but you're taking it to school for show and tell. I have a problem with that.
Steve, I mean, what it's like, you buy okay, let's make it, let's go with this. It's like saying, all right, my 13-year-old son, he wants his independence. What 13-year-old boy doesn't? Yeah, I'm as you said, you found every excuse. That's, I mean, I obviously blame the kid, but not, he's still a kid. This is why we have adults and kids, and this is why we try juveniles and adults and whatever, because we're still growing up. We're still getting there. So this is why we have parents and children. I'm just putting it out there. You need someone to guide you. And buying someone a gun buying something like that particularly is it's like saying to your son, you want to go out, you want to have fun, I don't really have the time. What are you, 12 now, 13? Yeah, take the pickup.
Right.
Now, what do you now, but here's the thing. What is he going to do with it? He's going to drive it. He's not trained. He's not trained. He has zero experience. He doesn't really know what could happen. He doesn't have the idea of consequence or repercussions. Maybe he's a big lad. Maybe he can fit and his legs can reach the gas and so on. Sure, fine. That was what my dad said. He's the moment you can reach the gas pedals, then I'll teach you to drive. And I was 25. No, I'm kidding. I was. but
that was last week.
Yeah, exactly. But let's say, you have to understand that if you buy something for your kids, like a car or a gun, they're going to do whatever that thing does.
Right.
You can't. I mean, what did they think? Here, son, have a gun, have a nice life, have a good day, without any supervision, and off he goes. And I agree with you. I heard that when I heard they were charging the parents, I thought, well, that's a bit rough. Hang on a second. Who bought him the gun? Would he have been able to get the gun without them? Number one. So how did he access the gun? Where did he get the idea to get a gun?
Right.
Who raised him?
Either way. That can go either way.
Yeah. I don't know. But that's what happens when you sign the parent contract. You are responsible for that person.
Nobody's a parent. I don't know if maybe in South Africa it's a little different because your guys are still allowed to beat your children, and until their attitudes change. Which
only on Saturdays.
Oh, see, and in America,
not on the week.
That ends with a Y. Yeah, Monday through Friday you can't beat them. So, but at least you get to beat them.
You can only slap them. You can't beat them. It's different.
Okay, well, slapping is still good. Here, you can't do anything to your child. When I was a kid, if I spoke back to my mom or dad or grandparents or any adult, they would just slap you across your face. I know, right? They're like, you want something to cry about? I'll give you something to cry about. So today, when kids talk back, you can't punish them because like one of my friend's kids said to him, I'm going to call like social services on you. And he's an old school New Yorker like I am. And he said, he gave him his cell phone. He goes, dial it.
Do it.
And he said, we'll just get another one of you. And I was like, there you go. And the kid like straightened right up. He goes, because my joke with him is, you're 13 years old. Your parents don't really love you that much. They don't really know you. Like if anything happened to you, they can just make another. And he literally used that line. His kid just looked at him like, this isn't going the way I thought. And it was of like, yeah, there you go.
But Steve, this is not new. I mean, you mentioned 13. I mean, there's the old quote about Mark Twain. When he was 14, he said, my dad was an idiot, a total idiot. And by the time I reached 19, I was amazed how much he had learned.
There you go.
So this is not a new problem.
But it's not a new problem. Don't parent. They parent less now because of all the technology. Kids are in there.
By the way, you can't be your kid's friend. This crap.
That's true. I agree with that. Like I don't ask if I have a child. I don't ask them, "What do you want?"
He doesn't want a friend.
What we're doing for dinner. Yeah,
he doesn't want a friend.
You're a biological life form.
You're not his friend.
You basically have no thought because the thoughts you have are just stupid. And when you're 20 something years old, maybe you're an adult. But I mean, in between 0 and 20, when you get out of university, you are my problem. So you do what you're told. And if I want to have an intellectual dialogue with you, we will try. And if it doesn't work, then we have to beat you. And it's just the way it works. No, I'm just kidding about the beatings. Or am I? What are you
Just
looking
a
for?
slap.
Are you trying to think if it's Saturday so you can beat your child again?
No,
What's the story?
I'm looking to see if I've got my favorite book here. No, I think I've lent. Oh, here it is.
Uh-oh. This is going to be good. This is the Satanic Guide to Making Money. No. So, hold on. We'll do a whatchamacallit. Let's do a close-up. Raising Boys. That's like,
Yeah.
you know, can I tell you something? A lot of the priests in the Catholic Church reads that book too. So it's very exciting.
No, the thing. Well, there's some things I agree with and some things I don't. But the one thing that is quite interesting, and I saw it come up on some newscast recently where they've said, "Oh, everything your relationship with money is formed by the time you're 6." And I went, "Well, that's interesting because in here." And some of the psychology books that I studied when I actually did my degree, I know it's surprising. I do have a degree. You're done. You're done by 7. That's it.
Really?
You're done.
Right.
You're done. By the time you're 7, all the bits, the psycho bits are all formed. Then you're just developing context and perspective.
Gotcha.
But done. Whatever person you're going to be is kind of done by the time you're 7. There's a little bit of wiggle room, but practice. So the thing that they say is, you want to start being a parent from the time that child is a baby. You don't start this crap when they are starting to put sentences together and articulating why they feel this way about a presidential candidate, because that's going to happen when
less about their feelings.
Too late. It's too late. You walk your kids out there into the world. You with them for those after 7. Whatever happens after 7 is not really up to you. Well, it is up to you, but they're done. And the reason, and this is just a theory. This is not a reason. This is a theory. I think why we're having a lot of trouble with parents is they step into the ring too late. By the time they particularly guys, and I'm just gonna be patronizing it. We go when the kid's not doing all that stuff, and when I can throw them a ball and stuff, and then I'll get involved. It's too late. The kid has really formed his opinion. He's got his view of the world, and it's done. So I guess we come to the party too late. And at that point, if you start imposing discipline and the things you should have done already, the theory is that now you could be impacting the child in some way, because now you it's too late, Steve.
Right.
You're trying to direct their behavior when they're 7, 8, 9, and it's too late. You lay the groundwork, and after that, they will be the fruit of whatever you've done.
Right.
So
there will be fruits. So
it will. It could be fruits. It could be. I don't know.
Low
hanging. Hang on.
I got it.
No, I don't know. Look, I mean, everybody's got a stupid theory about parenting. I
will say this though. When I was growing up, my grandparents and mom and dad, and both grandparents, my grandma, grandpa, nana, and pop, and because we all lived close, everybody was involved from the minute I came out until everybody moved away when I was in my teens. And I think that had a lot to do with discipline and everything. So whether I was an embryo or I was 2 or 3 or 4, there was still like, no, don't do this, don't do that. So by the time I was a little gentleman, as my grandfather would say, and be going to dinner at 8 years old in a little suit with a little pocket square and ordering dinner for the ladies at the table, my formative years, if you will, were formed. And there was discipline. And
that's exactly what I'm saying. Yes.
I agree with you. And I think it translates also into business, because I saw everybody, I always joke with people, I'm a stupid New Yorker with a Northeastern mentality, whether you're a white collar or blue collar, whether you have $1 or $1 billion. My mentality, and I was raised, you work until you die, and you don't really work. You find something you love, and that's what you do. And today when you talk to people, it's like, well, I want to come in around 10. I want to leave at 3 because I have to have work life, nothing. And that's because your parents are pussies. You're a pussy. That's it. I come and I like old stock. There's a company we're doing some work for. And I said to them, what are you hiring? And they told me, this is the problem. You're hiring a bunch of pussies. You're hiring people that have no infrastructure, no foundation. They all think, they're going to be, working 6 hours a week. And that's how you build a multi-billion-dollar company. And literally, if you don't work 80 to 100 hours a week, you're not building squat. Let's just be honest. And these kids come in and go, but no, there's no thing. You know what? Go work as a barista.
But this is the thing.
Problem.
But Steve, okay, so that's the grumpy complaining part. Now I'm gonna rotate it around and say, so how do we, because we got to fix stuff. How do we fix this? What is the so that's the diagnosis. Now we got to find the prognosis and the possible solution. And what I would say is, not everybody's like that. A lot are, but I come across people, even young folk, that are not like that. And
when you say young folk, what do you mean? Like
I gotta look at the parents. No, I look at the parents. I look at the parents.
Okay.
And you'll find very often the person who's got that great work ethic, who is, I guess, a bit like you and I, the old school thing, whatever. Yeah. You look at the parents and you realize there was no debate growing up. There was no debate. But that from 2, 1, 2, 3, when they were starting to understand words, not when they're 8, 9, 10, because then it's too late, is what I'm trying to say. People step into the ring too late, and then you're now dealing with an alien life form. It has its own independence, and it's the middle culture, social services. And not that I'm agreeing with the kid, but at that point, you probably should, because you and your dad there's no shared value. It's too late. It's too late. And you shouldn't be surprised. You shouldn't be surprised if your kid starts doing their thing and rejecting you because you've come to the party too late. I'm saying, and I'm going to be smug about this, I have screwed up most things in my life. But when it comes to my son, for instance, I will say I was there. And yes, look at me, woo, woo, woo. I was there from day one, probably because I had. Thank you very much. I was. In fact, I was there even before day one.
I was going to say, you helped. You were there
that's
before.
That's another reality show entirely. Exactly.
That's right.
But the thing is, my background, I didn't really have a dad, and circumstances, it's whatever it was. It wasn't his fault. Family split up, whatever. And I always said when my son came along, or my daughter, same thing, I would be there from day one, and we would not friends. They needed to know I was there, and I was that way, and I was that way on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every single day. There was no wiggle room with how the discipline worked. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I would say the first couple of years were challenging for me. It was fine for them. We didn't have the terrible 2s. We didn't have the crazy 3s, whatever they call them, the fearsome 4s, the fabulous 5s, whatever it is. And we would go to restaurants. And no, my kids weren't the ones peering over the side. They weren't the ones throwing a tantrum in the shopping mall, because they knew I was there.
Oh yeah.
And I would say it's as simple as this. If your kids know you're there, but I mean, they really know, and they know from the time they 2, 1, not even walking. If you're not actually there, acknowledging them, listening to them, you don't have to wave magic wands. You don't have to be the dad of the year. You just have to be present, and they need to know you there. That's all. That's it. And you need to want to be there as well. That's also important. I want to be a dad. I want to be there, not to be on some Hallmark thing. Oh, look, I'm such a great dad, and we all have hugs. No, it's not that. They just need to know you're there. They have their little thing, and they look across and they see dad, and they go, "Okay, I'm cool." Or if you're not there, Steve, for many years up until 7, 8, 9. Then they go, okay, well, I got to find my own path now. It just works in their mind. And then they become that person who comes to your office and says, I don't know if I want to come in before 10. Because they don't know, Steve. They haven't seen who's their role model. What are they based it on?
But the interesting thing is, but the interesting thing about what you just said is I never acted up either. And friends of mine that grew up in New York when they raised their children didn't act up because there was like no phone, it was like you discipline. Like they can sit at a table with the adults. They can do this. They can have a dialogue. They can do all of that. And whatever. When I go to a restaurant, and I'm talking like a nice restaurant where you have to dress, and I see some little kid with an iPad, and I'm thinking, I'm glad you're bringing your kid here to learn how to do this. But when they're 13 or they're 23 or whatever, they can't bring an iPad and watch like a movie that's blaring, by the way, not a headphone, but blaring for the whole restaurant to hear. Like at some point, and it's like I've literally asked my table to be moved, and I remember like some waiter gave me a look, and the manager is like, "What's the problem?" And I said, "Listen, I have no problem sitting next to a child. I do have a problem. I don't want to watch a movie while I'm eating and trying to talk to people because the thing is so loud." I said, "Let's assume," because I'm friendly. I said, "You won't have the balls to tell them to turn it down." And I said, "It's not my restaurant, so just move me." And we moved. And my people were with me. "Why didn't you say something?" I said, "It's not my place to tell them how to raise their child in a restaurant and embarrass them because they were with a group of people." I said, "They can move my table because that's easier instead of me going, 'Hey, asshole, curb your kid.'" So no, like a problem is parents today are not parents. Parents today are, I don't know what the hell they are. They're little sperm receptacles. And
so here's the solution. This is what I'm saying. Here's what I believe is a possible solution.
Yeah.
And it actually speaks to leaderships, presidents, everything. It's the whole thing. I came across something recently. I think my wife pointed this out to me. In Japan,
Right.
A lot of places around the world, they teach their kids maths, geography, all these silly things. But apparently, and full disclosure, I haven't actually Googled this. I just trusted my wife knew what she was talking about.
This is going to be good.
Yeah. But what she said made sense. Apparently, I believe I'm led to believe that in Japan, the kids are taught about, for example, nutrition. They teach the kids nutrition. They teach them how proteins and things work and their little games and things they do. And each school, allegedly, because I haven't Googled it, hopefully it's true, the district schools, whatever, they have to have a nutritionist who is trained to make proper meals for the kids. Right. And my wife said there was a picture of one of these classes, the kids in Japan, and none of the kids, there must have been 9, 10, none of them, no overweight kids, all in shape, all happy, but all knew about nutrition, what to put in here, what things did what to our body. Now, what I'm saying is, it impressed me because I thought this is something that people don't teach the kids. This is why we have people with eating disorders. This is why they'll go online and they'll watch crap about nutrition and they'll come to your office and say, "Oh, this is good for you, that's bad for you." They really don't know. They have no clue. They've never had training. Now, you can blame them or not blame them, but the truth is when they went to school, there was no training about nutrition. In Japan, there is. Now, I'm saying getting back to why aren't they good parents? Because when you're at school, no one teaches you how to be a parent. No one taught me how to be a parent. I'm sitting saying, "Oh, things went well with me." But there were issues between me and my kids, which I've had to learn on the job. What would have been helpful is that when I went to a place of education, of learning, why are you going to school? A lot of the things that you learn, you never use anyway. Right. But what they were doing is they're giving you subjects, material, things that you got to learn to understand a workload, exams. There's a work ethic. You've often heard people say, "What I've learned in school, I don't use in the office." That's not the point. The point is you've got to be trainable. You've got to learn how to train, how to work, foundation. So I'm saying, in amongst all the garbage that you learn, algebra, seriously, okay, we'll put that in there. But how about something about how to be a parent? I have something. Now, but I'm saying, hang on. Okay. So you become a parent, so you learn that. You learn that. Maybe some practical courses.
They used to have classes like that. Oh no, they used to.
But then. And in addition to that, people say, why are politics so screwed up? Why have we got no leaders? When do you learn how to be a leader in school? When do you learn? Really, and I don't mean just the guys that get selected to become prefects. I was a prefect at school, and there were certain little classes we took. But generally, there was no training. I went to a fancy school where we had this was interesting. We had a class, and it was only for 1 year, where you learned about your partner, who you would choose to marry or spend. And that's weird, but we were 16, what we learned about. And our headmaster used to take the class, and he said, "This is probably one of the most important decisions you're ever going to make." And it stuck with me because I thought that is true. You choose the wrong partner, and your life can be crazy.
Crap.
You choose
Yeah.
the right partner, and things will go better for you. Now, partner, nutrition, leadership, how to be a parent. These are all things which should almost be mandatory. You should teach. Nobody knows this in your. How do you know how to be a father? From your father? What if you didn't have one? What if you're, I don't know, or all you heard about your father was what your crazy mother who fought with your father told you, and he was on.
Yeah, I think if you just watch The Birdcage and you just look at Nathan Lane, I think that's the perfect father for anybody. Perfect. But let me just say,
Is that with the club in Florida? Is that with the club in Florida and Robin Williams?
Yes, Nathan Lane is the.
I love that movie.
So I
Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. It was brilliant.
It was brilliant. Now I will tell you, your wife was correct.
Father, really?
Kudos. Yeah,
I don't
think
remember
Nathan
him
Lane
being
would be the perfect father for anybody. Anyway, here's what it says. Yes, Japanese schools teach nutritional facts through a philosophy called I think that means Godzilla's going to eat you, which means food education is a key part of the Japanese school lunch program, which includes nutritional education. Students learn about nutrition, value of their food, and why certain nutritions are important. School lunches, students receive a nutritious lunch prepared by a certified nutritionist. Serving and students often serve lunch classrooms. Wait, here's the best. Serving and eating. Students often serve each other lunch and clean up after themselves. That'll never happen in the States. Local produce. Students learn about local and seasonal produce and how to cook it. Schools run living textbooks. School runs of teaching children, yada, yada, yada. There's a whole thing on this. Then here's what they get to learn in class. Mathematics, music, art, a foreign language, Japanese language, home economics, physical ed, and home economics to be children or cooking, physical ed, science, social studies, which we don't do anymore, character education, which I like, crafting, and English. So there you go. So you want to know why China, Japan, and Korea kick our asses? There you are, kids, because they actually teach their kids something. Our kids in America learn nothing about anything. They're useless as tits on a bull. And what? Bulls can't have tits. And if it was up to me, you said, what would I do? Because we know what the problem is. I would literally implode the planet, which is what we're doing here at the Lizard People Illuminati Club, and start over. And I would bring more intelligent Homo sapiens on the planet, and we would just start from the beginning.
But that's all very dark. And
that was not dark. Tits have balls. I thought that was very light.
It was very good. I don't disagree with it at all. But I'm saying putting I always like to see if we can find something. I don't know.
How about we teach? We go back to old school teaching, and like we pay teachers money so they don't have to struggle, and we let the teachers have discipline in the classrooms, and we teach the children the proper education. I love the Japan education system. They go to school 11 and a half months out of the year. Little brats don't need to be off for the summer. They need to be being taught.
The problem, Steve, and it is a problem. I don't disagree, but what was that song called? Who Let the Dogs Out? Well, this is what's happened. The dogs are out. And how do you get them back in? You can't get them back in. They're out there. So now you got to manage that lack of discipline. And there is your challenge. They're out.
The wokeism. Remember the wokeism a few years ago? Everyone was woke and politically correct and all that bullshit. The Wall Street Journal did a whole article. Who cares? The Wall Street Journal said that it's going away. People now are kind of fed up with wokeism and politically correctness. People are like, enough of this BS. Let's get back to the reality of it. So who let the dogs out? Hey, guess what? I'm the adult. The dogs are coming back. This is what your school is going to be like. And if you don't like your kid in school 11 months out of the year, go send him to some shit school, and then he can then do whatever. And if you want your kid to learn and move ahead, send him to a public school that actually teaches. But the public schools and the counties have to start paying their teachers 6 figures. Whether you're kindergarten all the way to 12th grade, you have to start paying the teachers real money, not this ridiculous, here's $33,000 a year and ask Johnny to bring a pencil. When I was a kid, we brought nothing to school except us, and the school gave you everything.
We have an interesting problem here as well. Speaking of teachers, they're running out of an education budget. Yet government ministers are ordering themselves fancy German cars to drive around in. So the problem is you got politicians running that, and there is the problem. It's like politicians ran the pandemic. That worked out great.
It did good.
It worked out great. Now, I just wanted to say something. You mentioned about getting all these ill-disciplined people back in the shed and whatever. Steve, we couldn't even explain to people how, and I'm not going to call it a vaccine, I'm going to call it a preventative measure that people were trying. I mean, my daughter's in the sciences, and she had a professor who was working on I'm not even going to say the word. It starts with a V. It's now a swear word. I mean, by the way, measles is coming back. Are you kidding me? It's coming back because people go, my body, my choice. Okay. So what I'm saying is you're dealing with that mindset where people, I've got friends who are under the illusion that the medical community is out to kill them. I mean, well,
that's true.
Okay. Whatever. You think what you want. If that's what you think, people grow up, they go, I want to be a doctor. I want to kill people. I want to be a epidemiologist. I want to come up with stuff that's going to run around in their veins, and then I can just use my phone, grab an app, and just turn them off. If you want to believe that,
sure.
But what I'm saying
with the
is,
Jewish space laser. I'm telling you, it's with our Jewish space lasers. So.
But Steve, your theory is sound. The practice of getting all these dogs back in the shed. I mean, forget about it. What is it? Forget about it. Forget about it. It's not going to happen. How do you? I don't know. It's a challenge.
It's just interesting that we've become a society of idiots. And we did a show last week with a gentleman named Michael Collins on Lost Dollar Business Club. And we were talking about most favored nation in China. And we were talking about what it means to be like an American and what that meant like in the 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s. And from like the 70s and 80s and by the 90s, it was gone. But also intelligent people were gone. I mean, like all of a sudden people have just become mindless drones. It's like all of a sudden, like, we have all this technology and there's only a handful of people that read, a handful of people that think, and the rest of the people are just like little drones. And I'm like,
you know what? You know what's crazy is you saying that has actually brought me back. I've written it down. This is actually what I wanted to even talk about was this idea. As I've said many times before, my friend he was a radio jockey in Norman, Oklahoma. Shame he actually passed away about 2 years ago. But he always used to be, and I'm going to do it. He says, hey, Roald, you're like an American with a foreign accent. I think if the history of some of the best and the brightest got over there, escaped tyranny. I mean, the Constitution is a work of that have developed amazing things, put men on the moon, all these things, incredible people. Unfortunately, their grandchildren are now running things. And it's you sitting with a bunch of people. I'm not casting aspersions on who they are because it's not true of everyone. This is not a blanket thing. But I do think when you have a guy who does well, he builds a business, which just for the sake of whatever, a man and a woman build a business. And they're great. They come from poverty. So they come from Europe, all the tyranny. You'll see my analogy. They come from that and they go, we're going to build something amazing because we came from that. And we're going to do better. And they did. And they became this rich, amazing, incredible thing. And their kids were idiots. And therein lies the problem, because it's not that the kids are idiots, but the parents do so well. You've seen these rich people that do so well. They build something from nothing. And they go, I want to spare my kids all of my heartache. But you say, but the heartache, the difficulty is why you're so amazing. You actually deny your children. They need a bit of that pain. No, they mustn't go, I want to spare them all that. And I feel sometimes, and bear in mind, I'm not generalizing about the whole country. I still think it's not a country, it's an idea. I look at it that way. It's 50 different, there's so many different people. I can't say one country.
And he's stuck. Well, I'm assuming he'll be back. If he's not back, there you go. You were gone for a second. So we're one country and then you got stuck.
Okay. So what's happened is you've got this incredible. I mean, it is, Steve. I mean, I know you joke about it, and you've grown up there and you live there, and I've come along and seen it and know about it,
Right.
and it's extraordinary what's been done. I mean, it's amazing. There's some. It's an extraordinary place, and there's some extraordinary people that have done extraordinary things. That's just a fact. In the arts and construction, whatever, you can't. It is there for all to see. But I sometimes think what you have now in a lot of areas is you have the kids that didn't build any of this. They don't have that. You said America died or whatever in the 90s, that whole spirit disappeared. Okay, I can't judge that, but I do think there's been a changing of the guard. The people that built stuff, that created things, that did things, I'm sure they're around, but their parents built everything, so they don't have to create anything. It's there, it's done, it's finished. A lot of those people probably moved to other parts of the world, so they can go and build things there. But I do think I almost think sometimes the country it's almost like a victim of its own success. It's got all these incredible. So as bad as things can be, and I don't want to patronize anybody, but you live there, I've been there. There are some folks that are struggling. There is a world economic downturn that is not just affecting America. I just want to put that by the way.
It's a global thing, yes. But I will tell you,
no one is minimizing the pain that people are feeling.
No, not at all. But you talk about kids and discipline. I heard a story about one of your favorite people, Arnold. And Arnold Schwarzenegger said, I forget if he did this with his son or his daughter, but they didn't make their bed one morning, and they were going to let the maid make the bed. And when he heard that, he went upstairs. This is Arnold Schwarzenegger. And Arnold went upstairs to I forget if it was the son or the daughter, to their bedroom, took their bed, their mattress, and flung it out the window into the lawn and said, now go get it, go upstairs and make your bed. And I'm thinking to myself,
Can I do it?
Yes. Oh, please. That's parenting.
You've got to get down there, go and get your bed, bring it up. You've got to make your own bed. No, don't get anybody to help you. Come on, go, you little girly man. I don't know.
And that is why his children are disciplined, because when your dad takes your bed,
grab the bed from outside. Oh my God.
He literally took their bed, flung it out the window. And not only he told it, but I thought his daughter told the story. And so I'm not, it happened to her or the brother, but she said, yeah, we thought the maid was going to make the bed one day and said, oh, the maid will make the bed. And my dad was like, oh, that's not happening. And literally took it and threw the mattress out the window and said, now make the bed. Like, go get it and drag it up and make. And I was like, wow, that's
parenting. Outside. You're going to sleep on the lawn. Go.
Yeah. So, and then, just his accent alone. I mean, when you're his kid, it's not funny, but if he did that and you were like with him, you'd be like, that's funny. So, it's one of those things. But I heard that. I thought that, okay. But see, if you do that today, kids would be like, I'm going to call whoever you want. Go live in social services. See what that's like living with 100 people. So it really is a shame that some of the old world values aren't there.
You do want to protect kids from abuse. Let's just be clear.
I agree with that. Right. But throwing your mattress out the window is not abuse. That's just
if discipline turns into abuse where you literally punch your children, that is.
Yeah, but if you smack your kid on the bottom,
I'm saying, Steve, to my original point, I'm saying, and people can argue, and that's fine. That's what that's great. That's why we chat. I would say, in many instances, if you are there for your kids and it's hard work, it's time. If you are there for them, really there for them, not phoning from a conference on the other side of the country. Sorry, I didn't miss that. If you're there for them, it's not a cliche. You need to be at that kid's concert. Yeah. You need to be at the ball game. Not for a photo op, but your kid needs to see you there. They need to know they can count on you, because if they can count on you, you don't even have to say anything. You can just sit there and be present, because they look across the room and they go, Dad's there. I'm okay. Because when the shit hits the fan, I can go and talk to him. And what he says, it must be credible. Or they will attack. You go, oh, well, he was always there. He cares. But if they don't have that, And then the kid gets older and starts becoming rebellious,
Right.
and the relationship with the father then becomes potentially abusive. That is a whole nother story. But
Yeah,
I'm
and I'm
saying,
not saying
I'm
I
saying
agree with you.
you're going to have less. I would argue, there's probably some exceptions, but I would argue you're going to have less rebelliousness, less trouble if you've actually been a parent for those first 7-8 years.
I agree.
I
I'm
think
not
you'll have
arguing.
less trouble. I'm not saying you won't have any trouble. You might.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
hormones, life,
Right.
the internet, Instagram, whatever, these
Right.
things, whatever. But then your kids, I'm looking at my kids, and I can only reference my kids. They're out there. They're now 23 and 27. They went through all of the social media thing, the YouTube thing, the Instagram thing. And so it's there. You can't take away the reality of it, but they could see it for what it is. They didn't look to it for comfort, for guidance, for information, for connection to people. It was just a tool. Social media, all by itself, as a little thing that sits on the shelf, is fine. But when you start looking to it for meaning, for life purpose, for acceptance, that's when, and then that leaves you open to all these suggestions about your parents should be doing this and you should be doing that and you should be doing that, and your mind just goes on an absolute tangent and you have no idea who you are. Your dad walks in the room and says, turn that off, and you go, no, I'm turning it off, because this is your lifeblood. This is your connection to reality, which you didn't get from your dad.
But here's the difference. I'm not saying when you spank your kid or to be abusive. If I was bad, I'd get either a slap on the face or a spank on the butt. It wasn't like a continuous whatever. Now, when I swore when I was younger, my mom would get the brown soap out and you'd have to do the mouth of soap, which was like, wow. And you learn not to swear. And then being from New York, it's very difficult. But in fact, let me tell you how difficult it is. When I was at university, I was with a friend in Brooklyn, and they were talking about islands, and they were talking about these Falkland Islands, and the teacher was talking about the Falkland Islands, and my friend, it goes, when they invaded the Falkland Islands, and my friend goes, what Falkland Islands? He goes, there's the Hawaiian Falkland Islands, the Canary Falkland Islands, and I'm like, no, the Falkland Islands. He goes, well, Falkland Islands. He says, got the Hawaiian. He goes to it. I'm like, no. I said, we'll explain it to you later. So it's sometimes it's just misconstrued. But but I got the soap in the mouth. If I was bad, I got the smack on the bum. I never got smacked in the face. I always got smacked on my bum. My mom once chased me around the dining room table with a wiffle ball bat because I was bad and she couldn't catch me. And
a wiffle, yeah.
A plastic wiffle ball bat. Yeah. And I knew it wouldn't hurt if she hit me. And she goes, never mind, we'll just wait for your father to get home. And that was, I should have just let her hit me with the bat once, the wiffle ball bat on the bum, and been done, because it'd be like getting hit with a piece of paper. And I was like, oh shit. So my dad would come home and he would just talk to me and I'd be like, okay, good. But I would remember not to do it again. And that's part of the issue today. It's like, I look back at that stuff. There wasn't abuse. There were good times, and I learned from every experience. And it was very like, okay, today, if someone says, you smack your kid on the bum, oh, we have to call the police. I'm like, you know what? Call the cops, take the kid. I don't care. I'll make another. Like, leave me alone. It's like, give me a break. And that's the problem. They don't let parents be parents anymore. If that's the case, listen, just breed, give the kid to a robot, and we'll see you when you're 25.
I'm saying this, though. I think being a parent is hard, and it does require it requires training, and it requires you to become something else, something better than yourself. And I'm saying there is zero support for that. There is zero training, zero guidance. And if you're going to follow your parents' example, unless you've got the world's greatest parents, you're either going to do exactly what they've done, which is not going to be great, or you'll do the opposite, which might not be great either. Right. So it's tough. You need information. You need training. You don't just get behind the wheel of a car and drive it. You need training. Well, some people just get behind the wheel of a car. But listen, quickly, before I forget this joke. You mentioned the Falkland Islands. Yeah. The Falkland Islands, which is in the South Atlantic, by the way, people, not the Falkland Islands. So so here it is. The UK and Argentina. So the UK goes knock knock.
Who's there?
Argentina? Yeah. Okay. So you Argentina, right?
Sure.
And I'm the UK. Here we go. So I'm the UK and I go knock knock.
Who's there?
Falkland Islands.
Falkland Islands, who?
And you never will.
That's good. I like that. So, but you know what was really sad about the Falkland Islands? I know we have to go in a couple minutes, but here's what's sad about the Falkland Island, the whole thing. Not my friend that didn't know the difference between the Falkland Islands and the Falkland Islands, but is that when the British sent that's a true story, which is horrible. The part that really got me was when they left to go to the Falkland Islands. It took them 2 weeks. When they got there, the Argentinian government act like it was a surprise, like they didn't know, like, oh, they're here, they're invading us. I'm sorry, it's been on every news channel for the last 14 days, and you're telling me you don't know that they're here. It was like, bless you. I was like, guys, like seriously, no, you should lose the islands. So what can I tell you? But for all you people that live in the Falkland Hawaiian Islands, you don't have to worry. So that was one of the best things ever. The Falkland Islands, and they said that's why people from Brooklyn have a problem. So,
in a related story, there we've actually got the totally left field, right field, or whatever. We've got the Argentinian rugby team here taking on the Springboks this Saturday. Okay. Yeah, right. Los Pumas taking on the Springboks, so they're actually in town.
Their name is Los Pumas.
Los Pumas.
Wow. It sounds like Pumas. Something that didn't agree with me. I got a little Los Pumas here. So
hey, they've got great beef. Argentinia's got They have great beef. So they're having a great time because we got great beef too. So they're at home.
Well, get rid of those 10-year-old kids. It's always good. That's how you do it. Wow. Why? All right. Wow. We just drink their blood.
Steve. Steve. You know what never gets old?
What?
Dark humor and unvaccinated kids.
Oh, I love it.
Since you brought it up, you went dark. I had to go dark too. I'm just saying.
That's our show. Hey, but the good thing is,
you can't use that on my radio show.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. You'll get kicked off. Oh, you can use it. Yeah, here we're good.
Oh, one more quickly. One more.
Yeah.
Sorry. One more. So this is a true story.
Sure.
Prince Harry is in the UK right now, attending some benefit.
Sure.
And they were thinking perhaps he would, he would hook up with William and Charles.
Okay.
So he went to a dinner and he walked in and he said, hey, Will, where's Dad?
Right.
So William turns around and says to him, he wasn't invited, but my father's dancing with Camilla.
Oh, very nice. Nice. Wow. Yeah, because there's a little controversy on who his daddy is. So nice.
I
explain that for the Americans that are listening because they don't have a clue. They're gonna be like, first of all, they don't even know who Prince Harry or William is, so we have to help them out. So they're like Lady Diana.
Think Spare. Think Stephen Colbert. Think Spare. That's Prince Harry. There you go. The book.
I love it.
Yeah.
So are you going to be back next Thursday with your words of wisdom?
Wisdom. Well, I'll be back with words.
Okay, that's what we.
I don't. Just to be clear, we've spouted all these philosophies and all kinds of garbage has come out of my mouth.
Sure.
I'm in no way saying they're wise or they even matter.
But after the show, he'll tell me how wise they are and they do matter. So just
of course. But right now, okay.
And as we started with the beginning of the show, we're going to end the same way. Yes, it's true. The Jews have space lasers. We do own all the media and all the banks.
That's right. That's right. Anything else? And what about the flat Earth thing? That's not a Jewish thing?
That's the Gentile. That's a Gentile.
Is that a Gentile thing?
Yeah.
So
we don't do that.
So the Jews, it's a ball. Is it?
It's still a ball. Yeah, it's a real ball because we own the ball. We don't own the flat stuff. Yeah. We don't do that.
What are you going to do with the flat thing? It's got to. Exactly.
Yeah.
I got it.
Like I said on the cigar show last week, I said, listen, Cuba. When we get our Cuban cigars, it's only 90 miles away from Miami, but if you walk it, it's a little further. Yeah, it's the same thing. So there you have it. Now that's one of those. Everybody, it was good to see you live. This will be rebroadcasted on Sunday morning. We'll be back next Thursday live. If you have a topic you want us to touch on, feel free to tell us. I mean, we won't, but feel free to tell us, and we'll go from there. Oh, stop it! You know we love our fan. Anyway, we'll see everybody next week.
Try not to throw up.
I'm going to go do that right now. All right, cheers, everybody. Have a great day.
thank you so much for listening to this Roald Woods, Rob Vega, whatever the hell he wants to call himself, fellow. You know, this podcast thing, it makes him feel very important, and he's a difficult fellow as it is to deal with. So thank you so much for putting up with him, and do take care.